For my scene analysis, I'm going to start at this point. This is right at the ending scene. I chose to start here on this dead looking tree because I feel like the composition and the intentionality of this film overall, but especially of this sequence right here, is fantastic at developing the characters and telling subtleties of the story. You can see that the tree, it does look very dead, but when you think about trees, right, you think rooted in something, you think stationary, you think strong, etc. Here you have that symbolism, but in something that doesn't look healthy, in something that looks very brittle, in something that looks very dead. And it plays to the main character in his role and the fact that he can't stay anywhere, that he's almost been somewhere too long. He's about to confront his boss that double crossed him, and it's like it's going to show that look, he kind of put down roots for a little too long here, and it's almost a prediction of what's going to happen. To me, this kind of symbolizes a light bulb moment. It symbolizes this is the end. That something's about to happen. You've got the battle armor on the left there. You know that we're getting ready for some kind of action, right? And you know that this is a moment that is going to bring light to our character, to the other characters involved in this moment. So right here, I found this really interesting because if you look at how these two have been set up, they're both gang bosses. They're both technically evil gang bosses. They're both bad guys, and yet you have this one guy with his sunglasses on, and it completely makes him less human than the guy on his right. Um, you've got that saying, windows of the eye to the soul. You can see emotion and stuff through that. So you see the guy on the right, like the mob boss on the right, he really, you can see his humanity. You can see that kind of battle in his face, and yet the guy, because of those shades, because we can't see the emotion in his eyes, looks completely stone cold. And I think this is a really interesting and subtle reference to the almost split personality of our main character. Now look at this. You've got absolutely amazing symmetry here. So you have these two guys depicted in their black suits. They're kind of in their shadow, right? And then you have over here, you have this white space. You have a white grand piano, and you have her wearing white. So you have this kind of purity, this kind of innocence represented through the coloring choices of this. Not to mention just the composition and the layout's fantastic. You've got this big red lantern or whatever the hell that was supposed to be. And it's very imposing. It's kind of like signifying almost potential impending doom. It looks big enough to completely kill and fall on everyone in this scene. Again, you have that reference to the eyes in this scene. You'll notice as they're looking back and forth to each other, the camera's close enough that you can see the looks they're giving. You can see the kind of scaredness, almost you literally see the conversation that they're having with their eyes as she looks at him and kind of defeated and not sure. Because right now, she in this moment she is having to decide: do I sing and let him live, or do I keep to what I want to hold fast to and not sing? And you've got again this representation, this depth of field with this statue holding up this big red thing in the background. It kind of reflects the weight of the decisions that are having to be made by every party in this scene. Like all of these decisions could potentially crash whoever is involved. Now, again, let's just notice how they've composed this shot right here, all right? They've boxed off the spotlight. You'll notice there's no circle of light like you would normally expect from a spotlight. It's being squared off, and it almost adds to this feeling of her being contained, of her being trapped. There's no soft edges. It's all very harsh. She's all very well contained. And again, you have this big, ominous, almost looks like a tractor tire or some monster truck tire or something that's in red. And, it very much looks like it's in a position where it could come down and crush her. Like what is about to happen is very life threatening, and that's just emphasized through this set design. Now we have the hero shot. You have all white suit in a white corridor with light spilling in it, walking towards you. It's literally that cell, like he's the savior. Now let's stop and look here again for a moment. You'll notice that in a lot of the scenes in this film, there is this repeated theme of his struggle in this whole journey that he's on. Fantastic composition yet again, giving us really strong clues as to how this is going to go down. You have kind of the hero shot, and so you see how he is so much larger than the boss in the background. It gives us this idea that he will crush him, that there is going to be victory already told before we even see how this fully plays out. Now, just look at this composition right here. Not only have they created this fantastic, well-balanced square, okay, of visual interest, but notice how this tire thing, this lantern, whatever the hell this thing is, not only is it no longer red, it's white. It's as non-threatening as her. But look at the size, just because of how they've composed this shot. It now appears to be the same size as her. It's no longer threatening. It doesn't look like it's showing any signs of impending doom. Just look at the cloth that's hanging here, right? You can see that it's got motion to it. The lines are creating motion, but it's also flowing in and up and down. It's literally indicating again in this simple, clean set design to our main character's journey, to the fact that he always has to be moving, that there's always going to be up and downs. That is what I think is done so well about this scene, is the seamless transition from real world location to set design, and how intentional that set design has been to still indicate that strong narrative of his journey, of his continuing struggle. And even this ending shot right here is, beautifully composed as he's walking away. And when he's leaving that girl, it just goes to show, there's movement. He's walking a path. And it references back to that tree shot, it makes sense now. We see that he knows, he's accepted the fact that he can't stay anywhere. And I think that is a fantastic job by this film.